Hey everybody, welcome to freedailycoaching.com. My name is Bert Bledsoe, and I'm coming to you tonight, actually, at a nighttime free daily coaching call. And the reason is we have a special guest, and this interview really just wouldn't be able to be possible in our normal hours, because in our normal hours, our guest today is out winning Emmys, right? He's out doing Emmy award-winning work, and we can't bother him, right? We can't just get him on a Google Hangout in the middle of the workday. And so he was able to sit down and meet with us for a few minutes this evening so that we can get an inside view of what his journey has been like. So if you don't know David DeMarco, first of all, go and find him on Facebook. We're going to give you, before we leave tonight, we're going to give you all his connectivity, right? We're going to give you his Facebook, we'll give you the website and the YouTubes and the clicks and the tweets and all the stuff. We'll plug you into his Google Pluses and his Tumblrs and his Digs, and you can stumble upon him and Foursquare him. I'm sure that maybe you can, if you get really crazy, you might be able to get his Snapchat account, send him some promiscuous Snapchats. But let me tell you guys a quick story about David that really impressed me. You know, before I had actually met David face to face and live, I had only known him from online, and I had known that he had won some Emmys for some video work, and I had known him because I was able to interact with him in a challenge. And one of the things that I had noticed about David while we were doing this challenge was he was super friendly and helpful. He had no problem like jumping out and being like, "Oh yeah, go do this or go try that." And quite honestly, I wasn't used to that. Before meeting David, I hadn't had that experience. Not a lot of people were very standoffish, or their answers were vague, and that's being generous. So after having that interaction with him online, I actually had an opportunity to meet David face to face, and it actually happened. I was actually at an event. It was my first live event where there was network marketers and internet marketers, and just like this big event. And I actually looked over at the registration table, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's David DeMarco!" And David was like, "Hey Bert," and I was like, "Wow, like I know that guy." And it just, you know, that's like one of those moments where you're like, "Wow, I know this guy from the computer world, right?" And then like he's right there. And David's actually one of those guys that actually has a real picture, so it's not like him like 12 years ago. You know, in like a workout outfit, like posing, like flexing, and then you meet him and you're like, "Hey bro, like you look like you have gray hair now, what happened?" Like none of that, you know, like it was really him. And so this is the exciting part, guys, is I was able to meet David face to face that weekend, but what I was really able to do was meet everyone. I was literally able to meet every single person at the event, specifically because David was asked me, he's like, "Who do you want to meet?" And I said, "Everyone." And he's like, "Okay, let's go, bro. Like that's not an easy task, but let's go do it." And we literally walked around for an entire evening, really an evening and a half, right? Because it was in Las Vegas, so you know sometimes you go past an evening. And he literally introduced me to every single person. And guys, you can go back and watch another webinar, I'm sure, that I talk about this, but David is literally maybe the king of edification. And when he introduced me in a way that was so flattering that it definitely had an effect. And I can say this with absolute certainty that initial introduction that I got with quite a few people parlayed itself from May all the way until an event in October where people were like, "How did you get all those people to say your name?" And it was really quite simple. They all knew me. That was the crazy part, is every single person there, they all knew me. Not just one of them like heard my name or anything. They all knew who I was. Like they had met me, and it was all because of David DeMarco. Now, that's just what David does in his free time. When he's actually out working, he's out actually as a video editor, he's out actually winning Emmys, right? So some of the top video introductions, the intros, the outros, these high production videos that you've seen from some of your mentors, whether internet marketers or whether they're online networkers, maybe they're big network marketers, maybe they're big, huge traffic generation people. those people have all used David, right? And I don't mean used him. That's, that didn't come out right. They've all hired David to do work for them, to produce and I want to say, I don't know what all the words are. Produce, edit, everything, right? Do the works and really create some fabulous stuff. So I don't know what else I could say. I mean, I wish I could. If I had an award, Dave, I would give you an Emmy. Maybe we'll make you a Goatee award. We'll have some Goatee awards and we'll get you a Goatee award.
Or a bird award. Your logo.
Right, with the ears, and then you just get it.
Dude, that would be a must-have thing.
Well, I thought we talked about this, and I think someone was talking about it the other night, and I was like, man, we got to get DeMarco in on this. How fun would it be if we created the MLMEs?
Yeah, really.
Right,
like
and you could have like some crazy awards, like you could have some real ones, like top recruiter,
Right.
most improved, the new guy, like top new guy on the scene or new gal, and then you could have some like fun ones too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like literally like worst email series ever, right? Worst autoresponder series by a marketer.
Most boring video by a
Right?
marketer.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Worst video of the year, and the worst video, and the most tiring, sleepy, put you to sleep video of the year goes to, right? And then we could have like most comical videos, right?
Yeah,
And so
I like
we can
that.
really have some fun with it, and then we just give out the MLME.
I like it.
MLME goes to. I mean, I think I'm just throwing this out there. I think if we made a list of all the actual events, like No Excuses and Live the Dreams and the Go Pros and the Top Earner Academy, if we made a list of all of those and when they are, we can see like some kind of like a pattern and a wave. I bet you somewhere in there there's an opening, there's a window of opportunity, and or the MLMEs could become just like the Simpsons were part of the Tracy Ullman show and grew into their own thing. What if the MLMEs are part of another event? That's how they start, and they
Right.
grow into their own thing. I'm not sure how it will work, but I think that
I think there's
as
something
an
there.
Emmy Award winner, you should definitely be part of the MLMEs. I mean, it seems
Sure.
like a no-brainer.
Yeah, count me in. I'm all for it. Be a lot of fun for sure.
I mean, all right. Well, I'm going to write that down as on our list of projects to do.
Great.
Okay, so David, besides the fact that you've actually literally, and guys, I know this is, if you're watching this and you think that we're joking, you literally have multiple Emmy awards that you've actually won. They're
Mhm.
real. It's not just like, we're not just making that up. Like, oh, he's an Emmy Award winner. Yep, there we go. We get to see
There's
the
one of them.
Emmys.
So there's two more right here. I'll show you. There they are.
Nice.
Down there.
Damn.
So multiple awards.
So multiple award winner, and really you've been in the network marketing, online marketing, this conglomerate world now. I think it's really starting to evolve. You can't really talk about internet marketers without some network marketers feeling like, well, they're like, well, wait, we're working online, and
Right.
there's some online, so there's like these hybrids, and there's this, it's all coming, everything's coming to where everyone's using the internet in some capacity. I mean, if you have a telephone, you're probably using the web for something.
Right.
So you've had this amazing opportunity to participate as an individual, business owner, as a customer,
Mhm.
and as a producer of, not, I don't want to say of like products, but of an end result. Like, you're literally producing something for some of these other people that are creating products and doing things on stage and etc. So
Mhm.
because of that, you have a unique perspective, because you've participated in many different capacities,
Right.
and gotten to work with so many people. So how, in the very beginning, how did you get into it? Like, because I know personally that what you used to do before you were in school and you're doing work. So how did you get into this area? How did you get into this group of marketers?
That's a pretty good story. That happened. I think It was about 2008. At the time, at that time I started investing in real estate back in 2006, and me and my girlfriend at the time, we weren't married yet. We both decided to invest in this real estate class, and it was a hefty investment, but we wanted to, real estate was hot. Little did we know we were right before the crash, but that's another story all in of itself. But we went through this class. That's how I actually met my Marty McDonald, and went through that class, and we started investing in real estate. And one night, one of the things that we used to do, we used to play Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow game. And at this particular one night, we're getting ready to play the game, and they had somebody come in to do a presentation. It was for a network marketing company for their juice. I'm not going to say who it was, but they came in, and quite a few of us were kind of upset. We wanted to play the game. We didn't want to hear about this juice. But they gave the presentation. I tried the juice. It was actually really good. Wound up getting involved with that company with Marty, and that was my reintroduction back into the business. I was involved with New Skin way back in the early 90s, and I think it took me, I didn't know anything about network marketing, totally did it wrong, wound up having product left over for quite a few years, stockpiled in my garage. But this brought me back in, and that's how I got back into the business. And that's, after we got into it and through our experiences through that year, we just had a very hard time just trying to build our business. And it was weird. That company had 3 different training systems, and we went through all 3. But what we had a problem with was we couldn't get any of the leaders to come and help us because we had to reach a certain level. It was kind of like this catch-22. We needed them to get to that level in order for them to come down, and help us. And it was that time that we started searching online, started searching about how does this business work? How does network marketing work? And that's when we came across a book that should be familiar with everybody, a little tiny pamphlet for $39 called Magnetic Sponsoring. And that kind of started the wheels for me, for Marty, for quite a few people. And that's what really made us to really start looking into this attraction marketing thing. And I remember I went through, from that led to me learning about blogging. I got involved with this one other lead capture system, but I kept on seeing these ads popped up, these videos for this system that you and I are involved with called My Lead System Pro. And I remember my buddy Monty calling me up, telling me I had to get on this webinar. I'm in this Starbucks, right, listening to this webinar for this event called Live the Dream, right? I don't even know who I'm listening to. I'm just hearing all these guys talking, and it sounded great. I'm like, yeah, okay, great. So I wound up buying a ticket to this event. I had no idea what it was. The only thing I knew about My Lead System Pro were these odd videos, and I've seen these videos with Ryan Finale, and I'm like, who is this guy? I didn't know who this guy was, and so I remember, that was my very first event, and it was interesting because when I was at that event, if anybody knows me, and you just described how at that last event I was introducing to people, I'm very outgoing, talking to people. At this event, I was like a wallflower. I didn't talk to anybody, so which was kind of weird for me. I just felt like I was out of my element. These are, like you said it best. It's like, oh my God, this is people that I only know them from seeing them on a computer screen. Now they're all around me, and they were all they all made all this money and all that. And I've been around successful people on TV for networking, but not people who made some of the outrageous amounts of money that some of these people are, saying
Right.
that they made and all that. So if it wasn't for Marty and Monty, I probably wouldn't have talked to anybody. They did the same thing for me that I did for you at that event last year. They were talking to people. They was like, hey, have you meet my friend Dave? And they did the same thing. They edified me. They said, yeah, he's been working in TV for these. He's won 3 Emmys and all that. And that actually made the person looking at them turn to me and go, really? How are you? And we had to start having these conversations and all that. I had all these great conversations with some of the leaders at the time. I met Fernie, and I can't remember who it was because I was all the way back in, I think, when was that? 2000. 2010. I forget what year, but that was the very first one. But it was eye-opening, and meeting all these people, and um, that's what really got me started, and I got really excited. And then what really was the breakout for me was for Live the Dream 2. I showed up, and um, I brought like this $10,000 video camera with me, some lights, tripod, and I went around. I interviewed just about everybody who spoke on stage that year in Live the Dream 2 in Orlando, Florida. And people remember me for that, and that's what kind of like started the journey for me. And I kind of actually wound up not even working on building any MOM or My Lead System Pro business, because I wound up doing all this video work for people. I started doing work for Dagan Smith, for Lawrence Tam, Toby and Layla Black, Cedric Harris, and I was very busy for that year. Actually, for the next 2 years doing that, and but I kept on coming to the events. I kept on going to the events, and then I recently made the decision that I wanted to put that aside and start building my own business. And you know, rest is history, I guess, from that point.
Yeah. Well, so you got you. It's a. I knew part of that story, but I didn't know the very, very beginning. And so, I think one of the main things that I take away, and I'm not sure, what the people that are watching, what their takeaways are, but what I really find interesting is that in the very beginning, even once you had now like tapped into this group of people where you started meeting these people, you didn't necessarily jump full force right into what they were all doing. It's
Mm.
like you took, and you a lot of people know I work with Diane Hockman a lot, right? So my style, like in general, is very much like hers, and so she always talks about this idea of if you would just do what you already know how to do, you'd probably get some success, and that's what I hear. It's like you were able to like talk, you were able to meet these people, have some great conversations, and then you were able to literally just do what you already knew how to do. You were
Right.
already had this expertise in this area. You're like, yeah, dude, I can totally do that. You did that. You did what you already knew how to do. You had, just like you said, you had a busy year. You stayed busy, right? You
Right.
were busy doing all this work, and then one day the light bulb comes on. You're like, hey, I could probably do what all these people are doing too,
Right.
right? Like that's like, hey, that's like a turning point, right? Like
Yeah.
when that light bulb comes on.
Mhm.
Okay, so when that light bulb comes on, you're like, wow, I could probably do this, and you make that decision. You position yourself, with the tools that are required to get from where you're at to this end goal. And
Mhm.
so I think because of your experience and the experience of being around all these people and being able to work with them, you're able to see kind of where you're going, where maybe someone that's on the call that's here at Free Daily Coaching, maybe they're not, maybe they're new. Maybe they didn't meet all those people yet. They haven't been to an event, or the only event they went to was, the event that their upline, right, their sponsor held, and they had a pill or a juice or a product that they were sampling, and there was like two other people. Maybe that's what. There's a rabbit literally coming into my house. Um,
Nice.
maybe that was their only experience, right?
Right. Right.
So for them, what would be, let's say, 3 tips? What would be 3 tips that you could give to someone that maybe didn't have that same experience that you have, to be able to, because you have that unique perspective to be able to say, hey, you know what, I've been involved with these people and these different groups and these communities for a few years. Now I'm going to get in. Where some people, they're just in. They're just like, hey, I'm here, right?
Mhm.
So they don't know how it all works, and I'm using that term loosely. They don't
Right.
see that. So what would you say that you think would be 3 tips that you think could really help someone that's brand new, Dave?
Well, first off, what I think would be a good idea is there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of great leaders and all that. Find that one leader that you really relate to. Um, it could be a Ray Higdon, it could be a Diane Hockman, whoever that may be, and really, you know, have them mentor you. It doesn't have to be face to face. They can mentor you by watching their videos or reading their posts. Or maybe you buy a book by Jim Rohn and you read that and you get mentored from that. But find somebody that you really resonate with and see what they're doing. And if it's someone that resonates with you and it works for you and you know what they're doing is something that you feel like you can do, then start doing it. You might not be able to do it on a grand scale as this, but everybody had to start somewhere, right? Um, uh, if you don't know who Ray Higdon is, Ray Higdon tells a story all the time. He sat at an event, nobody knew who he was, and then a year later, he was at that very same event again, and he was speaking on stage. So you have to start somewhere. So that would be one of my tips. Find somebody that really resonates with you, someone that you like, someone that you follow, you like their stuff, and start doing that stuff. Start doing what they're doing. Start following their teaching and all that. Um, another tip would be obviously to go to start going to events, start going and meeting some of these people in person. I mean, you know how well, what that was like for you, the transformation that happened for you in your business when you actually physically met these people and you start building that relationship with people. Okay, because when you're on this side of the computer screen, you're at home, all these people are still not real, right? They're just there. You can't touch them, right?
Right.
They're there on the screen, they're like, ooh, and then what happens is you tend to put these people on a pedestal. But when you go and you meet them, you find out they're just normal people. They're just like you. The only difference is they're just making a little bit more money than you. Okay, or maybe a lot more money than you. But that's it. That's the only difference. They just got really serious and they just apply what they learn and and they're doing well. And it's the same everywhere. Just let's just talk about normal jobs for forget about the whole internet marketing. You get a regular job, right? And you get the people who just stay at their whatever position they're at, and then you get the people that excel and they work their way up the corporate ladder and they get those nice paying jobs, right? It's the same thing. So, you know, but now you meet them in person, and now they're not like this god or something, this goddess that you see on the screen. Now you get to meet them, and then when you meet them in person, then you have a chance to have a conversation, and then you get to hear a little bit more about the story, and it's done wonders for me. And you never know how that relationship, what that can relationship to turn into, right? I mean, you and I met on the internet, then we met in person, introduced you to all the things, and now look, now you're interviewing me on your wake
Right.
up call, right? So, and who knows what
Crazy.
other things that we're gonna. I mean, now, and if people don't know, when we go to events, me and Bert go to events together, and we room
Right.
together.
Right. Yeah, that's our
So,
deal. That's our thing though. But like
yeah,
that's a crazy thing. You never think that you're gonna meet someone on the internet, right? On a in a thing, just in a training
right.
that's gonna become like and you talked about it, Dave. It's about you get to go meet these people and you develop relationships.
One of the most
Because
important
that's the
things.
part that you don't, not everyone that you meet or everyone that you come in contact with or that joins a thing or gets on your team or whatever that comes into that sphere, not
Right.
everyone you're going to become friends with, right? Even
Uh,
your colleagues, even the people that you work hand in hand with that are right there with you. It's just like anything else. It's just like at a corporate job. The difference is that you don't have to sit in the cubicle next to them, or you don't have to go to a board with meeting with them every week,
right.
right? So there's some people that you like and you get along with even more than the other people. And
Right.
what an awesome deal. Like really, think about it. What an awesome deal. You're like, so where are you? Like, okay, what are we doing? Like, okay, what's next? All right, like let's go make the reservations, get the rooms. Like, okay, when is the travel plans? Like, that's a that is just such. I never even thought of it like that. Like, what an it's such a transformation to like meet someone online, and now like have been able to say, hey, listen, we've gone to multiple events, we hang out, right? We know, like, and I got to meet a bunch of new people like at this last event that we're at that
Mhm.
I never had met too, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know, like it's pretty big deal when you get to meet like Ben Settle, right?
yeah,
Like
yep.
you're like, hey, that was pretty cool. Like I'm just saying. Like, and I
Sure.
didn't even know who Jim was the whole entire time, and then you find out, and you're like, wow, that guy's doing pretty good. Like,
Exactly.
I'm pretty glad I met that guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like Ben Settle is just a regular guy.
Right. And you
Like
just
literally, you're like, you're from Roseburg, Oregon,
I know he's really cool.
right?
You get to
Go
hang with him,
ahead, Dave.
and then the thing is, you don't know where that relationship could. You might just wind up being friends or colleagues, or you never know. You might wind up working with the guy, right? You might be doing a project together,
Right.
and you don't you don't go for what you can get. You just go and just it's just like building any relationship, right? That's one of the most important things. It's I like to say it like this. What you know is important, but it doesn't really come into play until who you know. You know what I'm saying? Who you know is the most important. And then what you know comes into play. That's the better way to say it. Nothing is more powerful than the power of relationships. And when we're talking about network marketing, it's all about relationships. Okay? It's a belly to belly business. Even when you're doing it online, there's some point where you're going to have to build a relationship. There's going to be somebody you're going to find down in your downline or on your team that's like killing it. And you're like, oh, I got to go meet this person. I got to go talk to this person, and you never know. I know people that, met their spouses through their network marketing company, right? Or
Right.
through going to events and all that. So you just never know. It's that powerful because you don't know what could happen when you go to these events and who you meet. For instance, I met Greg Gomez the third at an event, and now I saw him at the last event that we were at, and we know each other. We casually talk, and he pulled me aside. And he gave me a couple ideas because I'm working on a product. He gave me a couple ideas on how to work on that product and how to test and all that. Right? If I didn't know him, I never would have heard that. I never would have gotten those little golden nuggets right there. But that's because we had a relationship, right? Because I went to a thing. Now, one more thing I'll say, one more tip is when you're at these when you're at these events, it's really cool, okay, to meet the leaders. It's really cool to go and buy the VIP ticket and meet the Diane Hockmans and meet the Ray Higdons and meet you know, um, the Brian Finales and all that. That's really cool, and I encourage you to do that. But what you really want to do is you want to look, like my buddy Marty taught me this, and he has a great way of explaining it, and I hope I do it justice here. But you want to look and meet those people that are kind of like on the fringe, along the sides. Okay, they know a lot of stuff. They're pretty cool people, but they're not like on stage. They're not famous, right? But those are the ones that you wind up doing the serious work with. And you know, my buddy Marty, he's one of the guys that runs his uh, his PPV campaigns. That's how he met him. He's one of those guys that actually works. It was the backbone and did some of the work for some of the guys on stage. Okay, that's the guy you want to meet, or that's the person you want to meet. You want to meet that person, because that person could probably do and propel you to where you want to go because he can do, he's the guy that can drive the traffic, right?
Right.
So that's a tip. You want to kind of, I'm not, like I said, Marty McNaughton knows, can explain it better, but you want those are the kind of people you want to meet at these events. Those people that are kind of like like the backbone for some of the leaders up on the stage that you know that know how to get, part of my language, they know how to get shit done. So that's my third tip there.
Oh, that's awesome. Um, Dave, we got some really good tips. I'm really appreciative that you take some time. I know, especially for you, living in a different time zone, I know it's a little bit later there. So I want to definitely say thank you. I know that everyone that's watching is going to want to go out right away. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, I got to go connect with David. So I'm going to, when we send the rebroadcast of this out, we'll paste in an annotation with a link. But for right now, for those people that want to go to, what's the best way for them to connect with you? To find you on Facebook or to go to a website? What's the easiest way for them to do that?
The best way to get to do that is probably with my Facebook.
Okay.
They can go and they can like my fan page, which is the Emmy-winning video dude, and
Emmy
my
winning video, dude.
yeah, it should be Emmy-winning video dude.
Okay.
Just look for me holding two Emmys. Um,
Uh, uh,
my personal page used to be my name, but I don't know what I did. I screwed it up. Now I think it's DeMarco6 or D DeMarco6 at the end of Facebook. But just look for this mug. You'll see that. That's probably the best way. I do have a website, daviddemarco.com, but I haven't updated it in a while, and it's actually getting ready to be totally redone. So from the ground up, I'm going to put a modern theme on it and all that. So we're in the process of looking through that. So, and but those are the best ways. And I think my email, you'll find that on my personal page, my About Me section on Facebook. So, but the best way is to hit me up on Facebook.
Emmy winning video, dude. Okay, guys, so when you look at it, it's www.facebook.com/the Emmy winning video dude. Okay? It's all the words, just all as one big long word, but the Emmy winning video dude. And so if you need to, you can click on the annotation here on the video. Excuse me, and if you're watching the replay, this annotation, you just click on that link there and it'll just launch you right up over to Dave's page. And remember to like the page. If you like the page, then when Dave's making posts, you're going to be able to get his feed. And then if you want to be able to get a hold of Dave, you can message him. You can send him a personal message over there on Facebook, and then that way, if you want to find his other channels, you can do that. David, thanks again. If you could just do one last a last imparting tip to everyone on something that you would just a quick message that you would like to say to all them on just keep on continuing, because I know your journey has been multiple years. Not like you just jumped in yesterday and you're like, okay, I'm going to start this. And so if you could just give them one last tip as we go out of here while everyone's going over and liking your page and connecting with you, that would be awesome. Again, I'd like to thank you for coming out on freedailycoaching.com. And I want to remind everyone that our normal time that we broadcast is 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time each and every morning. So take it away, Dave.
Well, one thing is, two things. I want to give a little video tip, but before I do that is, there's going to be things in life that are going to come up. They're going to be unexpected. I've had my fair share of those, especially in the last 4 or 5 years, which has kind of slowed my progress of building my business. That stuff is going to happen. People are going to get sick. Your house is going to fall apart. Your car is going to have a major break. These things just happen. Life happens. Just go with the punches. Don't let it get you down, because this stuff happens. If you have to stop and deal with something, then just stop and deal with it, okay? Don't get all nervous and all that. Don't get all worried. It's just stuff happens. That's what I did. During that time when I couldn't actively build my business, I was still learning. I was still finding time to get on a webinar or to read a book or something. I was doing something, and in my mind, I might not have been actually building a funnel or actively promoting something, but to me, I was building my business because I was building me. I was working on this thing up here, this thing called your brain. I was working on that. So it was constantly building me forward, and I was going to events whenever I can, and I was meeting people. I was doing the things I could do while dealing with some of the life issues. So always try to be doing something. If something comes up and it keeps you from working on your business, it's okay. It's all right. Just, go do what you have to do. But in the meantime, even if it's a little tiny thing. Maybe the only thing you do is you can make a quick post on Facebook here and there. Just, don't let those things, knock you off your horse or get you off track. Just keep doing something to move you forward in your business. And as far as a video thing, One of the things people ask me is like, what's the best camera? What's the best this or best that? And in my opinion, the best camera is the one that you have. So if you have one of these, an iPhone or an Android, just use it. Set it up and use that. Don't worry that you have to have the latest thing. If you don't have a microphone, just get yourself in a room and close all the doors, turn off your air conditioner, and make sure there's no noise and get really, close to the camera. I know Mark Hoverson used to, when he used to make some of his videos where he draws on the screen, he used to put two pillows next to his computer and on top, and used to stick his head in there, right, and use the microphone in the computer, and that's how I recorded it. It sounded great.
Yeah,
Nobody knew it until we actually revealed it. One of the things. So it doesn't have to be pretty, doesn't have to be, but And one last thing I'll say is when you're setting up your shots, take a look at what's behind you. Like right now, you can see behind me is part of my studio, and which is okay because we're doing an interview and all that. But I probably wouldn't be doing a marketing video with something like this behind me. Like for instance, if I go right here, you can see like it looks like there's a pole coming out of my head right now. You know, stuff like that. You don't realize it, and that's happened to me. You don't either. So you want to have a background that's non-distracting, but looks nice. More than just a blank wall. Maybe a bookcase or a fireplace, or even, if you're outside, a nice tree setting and all that. So make sure you look at that. You want to just have an eye for if you were going to take a picture with a camera. Everybody can take pictures. Everybody takes great pictures, right? It's the same thing. Just look at everything like you're taking a picture. Set up your camera, and you'll have some good results. I could keep going on and on, but I'm like, I
Well,
gotta
and
stop
you know
there.
what, guys? If you guys want to do some more video and get some more tips from Dave, then what you need to do is make sure you go over and like his fan page, and then just stay tuned. Stay tuned because there's going to be more coming
Yes.
shortly. You're going to see
Yes.
some stuff coming out from Dave. We're going to have him back on Free Daily Coaching. We'll go over some specific video questions. I know you guys have the video questions, but that's what's fun about coming over here is that we don't always do the same thing that everyone else is gonna do. We got to know David today a little bit differently than everyone else, right? Because everyone else that has him come over, they're gonna ask him what's the best camera, what's the best microphone, how do you do this, how do you do that? Guess what, guys? You can Google that, okay? How do you think David did it? He did it for trial and error over time and time and time, right? Maybe what
Yep.
Dave likes, asking Dave what's the best camera is like asking him what's the best computer. Well, I know he's going to tell you he likes Mac because I saw a picture on Facebook. He bought Mac out, right? He bought all the stuff.
Yeah.
He got all
Went
the gear.
crazy.
But check this out. He likes Mac, but if you talk to a guy that is a PC guy, he's going to say PC. So that's what's unique is that you get to come here and get the different side. But don't worry, you're going to have an opportunity to plug into some video training. Okay, you're going to have an opportunity to get some of that video, some of those technical questions answered. So stay tuned. Go plug into David on his Facebook and stay tuned, and you'll be seeing him and some more video content, some more video creation, and some more tips, tricks, and methods that you can use to improve your business very shortly. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you tomorrow on freedailycoaching.com.